Well, I hope everyone is having a good Christmas Eve and wish you all a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. This video has been long overdue, and of course, I'm talking about remastered version, 4K HDR, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos. A true delight. A movie that's almost 50 something years old, close to 60 years old. A movie that's really remarkable in every which way. I would say 50 plus years old. That's how old this movie is. And I'm just simply blown away by this remaster uh, of Space Odyssey 2001. I'm currently using my Q8FN and my Oppo UDB2 a 3 4K player, and I'm simply blown away. By the way, I am using my movie mode picture settings that I have shown you guys in my previous videos. If you want to look at the picture settings that I'm using for the movie mode, go check out my previous videos that I did, including the one with Sicario. So go check that out. The HDR really brings this old film to it's such a clean detail. Sure, there's grain there, but honestly, the way they transferred this film, the way Warner Brothers has cleaned up this transfer so good on this 4K UHD disc, it's just stunning. Everything looks vibrant. The detail, it's sharp. You barely ever see any kind of dirt. You know how some of these old movies have a little bit of dirt on the film? None of that stuff. It's all cleaned up. It's really smooth. And to truly experience this film, you gotta watch this in 4K HDR. I mean, it really shines. And this is another example how these old movies benefit. We have seen that with Close Encounters of the Third Kind. We have seen that with E.T. We have seen that with Jurassic Park. Look, these movies, these old movies can really shine in 4K and HDR and Dolby Vision. And this is the reason why you want to get yourself a 4K UHD Blu-ray player, so that way you can own this masterpiece. This is a masterpiece. This movie will be, I could talk hours and hours about this movie. That's how philosophical this movie is. But this movie, it's meant to be owned on 4K UHD Blu-ray. It really looks stunning. I mean, the deep dark levels on this film, the transfer, the tone mapping of the deep dark levels and the white bright levels, the color, everything, the tone mapping, the remaster, it's perfect. I mean, I'm just blown away. I really didn't expect that Warner Brothers was going to go all out this way to make this movie really have that facelift and the makeup that it deserves. But Warner Brothers did go all out, and man, they truly put all the effort to make sure that this masterpiece gets the masterpiece treatment of Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos and HDR. I mean, it looks fantastic. For such an old movie, man, this movie was so ahead of its time, way ahead of its time. And it's still way ahead of its time. You know, I was watching this today and I was like, I can't even believe that. Wow, is this a movie that's 50 something years old? That's 60 years old. 60 years old. Can this even be possible? Well, yes. I mean, it's just the stuff that you see, the detail that you see. If you have a really good 4K television and HDR, I mean, you're really gonna feel as if you're watching a brand new movie again. This is what this new technology of the transfer and HDR and higher resolution and higher bit rate can do for these old movies. Bring them back to life. Almost like resurrection. It's almost like this movie is being resurrected. I mean, it's really that good. And I'm not exaggerating. I know some of you are going to say, maybe you're exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. This is a fantastic transfer for such an old movie that was way ahead of its time. And Stanley Kubrick's masterpiece, and of course Arthur C. Clarke. The way he wrote this is just stunning in every which way. This movie is so philosophical. It's so deep. Like I said, I could talk about this movie forever. But we're here to talk about just how beautifully the transfer is, how beautifully it looks, man. My camera here, obviously, you can't see what I'm seeing. You have to buy this movie. It's very hard to find this movie, man. It's sold out, and there's a reason why it's sold out, because it's so damn good. The transfer, it's so damn good. Every scene, it's vibrant and it's sharp, and it looks as if the movie was filmed yesterday. It's really, that's the only way I can. Listen, I've seen every version of this movie, and I'm telling you right now, this is it. This is the best version. If you want to own this masterpiece, this is the best version. 4K UHD Blu-ray version. Now, for those of you who have never seen this movie, do yourself a favor, watch this movie, but make sure you watch this movie in a dark room with a surround sound. Make sure that you're not being bothered. Make sure that you turn your cell phone off and just indulge yourself with this experience. It's a very psychedelic experience watching this movie. It's a very philosophical movie. It's very deep. And like I said, it's a masterpiece. But above all, this is the perfect way now for you to experience this film with a 4K UHD Blu-ray version. The HDR, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, everything is just top-notch, man. And I'm not exaggerating. It's really top-notch for such an old movie, man. This is how you do a proper transfer. This is how you make a masterpiece look good. Give it a masterpiece treatment. And what's so great and unique about this film, it's the message. The message of the film is, what is the monolith? Now, there's many different theories about what the monolith is. Some people have theories that the monolith is the rebirth. It's the birth of new life, new planet. And I think, in my opinion, I think that's what the monolith is. Monolith, it's the creation of life. It's the birth of new life. And I think that's why you see a baby here in the shape of the planet. But that's just my opinion. A lot of people have different opinions and thoughts on what this movie message means. But that's the great thing about this movie is Stanley Kubrick and Arthur C. Clarke, they don't want to tell you and give you any answers. You figure it out. You watch it over and over again and you try to figure it out. All I can tell you is this is a fantastic transfer. This movie was way ahead of its time, and it's going to be a forever and ever legendary masterpiece. Go buy this movie in 4K UHD Blu-ray. Merry Christmas.